and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to make 3 little fall characters using one simple pattern. Now a lot of you ask me what that 1-inch square means. When you print out your pattern, just make sure that that square is still 1 inch and you'll know you got it printed out correctly. So if you want to know how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Right, Maxwell? You good boy. We're starting with a basic pattern, and this is going to be for the mummy, the skeleton, and the scarecrow, and you're going to cut these out of fleece. You want to make sure that you are using a fabric that is stretchy, and I am using just a white fleece on my little mummy. I'm going to use a tan one on my scarecrow, and I'm a black one on the skeleton. And just go ahead and pin your pattern in and go ahead and cut it out. You cut it out, go ahead and figure out which side you want the outside to be, and that needs to be on the inside. And go ahead and pin those two together, just leaving about 1/4 of an inch all the way around so we can glue it together. It's easier if you pin it first before you glue it. It just kind of keeps it lined up. And if you can sew, just sew this. This is super simple too. And then just start gluing all the way around. We're going to leave the top edge of the head open, so go ahead and get everything else glued, and you're just trying to get as close to the edge as you can, and make sure that your curves are curved so that when you turn it right side out, you do have a nice curved edge on the legs and the arms. And I'm just using a real fine bead of glue. I'm not globbing it up, so just make sure that you just don't put too much glue. When you get to the head, just come on around the top side and the one side, and you're going to leave this other side open, and that's where we're going to turn it right side out. Okay, after that's dry, just go ahead and turn your little guy right side out. And then I'm going to take a bone folder to kind of shape the arms out a little bit, the legs, and the head. It really does kind of help shape it out. And then I'm just going to fill this up with some polyfill. And if you kind of break it up a little bit, it's easier to get in there. And then just go ahead and make sure that you get each one of the little cavities full. You want this to be pretty stuffed. And once you get it as full as you want, go ahead and start sewing up the side. And I'm just using small little stitches all the way around it. You're not going to see it because it is going to get covered up with the gauze, but just kind of get it stuck, sewed in real well. And then when you get to the end, go ahead and do a knot, and then run your needle through the body, and then just cut it off right at the tip. And then I'm just taking a roll of gauze. It's about 4 inches wide, and I'm folding it in half to get 2 inches out of it. Then I am just going to start wrapping this. And there's really not a right way or wrong way to do this. Just kind of alternate going around the legs, around the arms, up the back. Just don't just wrap it, straight across, kind of do it diagonal. And just get it till he's completely covered up. I think I did 2 wraps on him. Completely covered him up. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple little googly eyes to the front. I got these at Michael's, and they're kind of an oval shape. You can use the round ones too, but just go ahead and glue it right to the gauze, and then we're going to continue to wrap, and we're going to wrap over the edge of his eyes just a little bit. You still want to make sure that they do show, so go ahead and just wrap, but leaving them open in the front. And then I'm just putting a safety pin to hold it together in the front, and then I'm going to cut the excess gauze off. Okay, to distress him, I'm going to use some of the Tim Holtz Walnut Stain, and I'm just going to start going all the way around him, just kind of getting him a little bit on the dirty side. And you can add as much as you want or as little as you want, but I'm adding quite a bit. And I'm doing the front and the back. Okay, I think this one turned out super cute. Let me know what you think in the comments today. For the scarecrow, I'm using the same pattern, and I'm using a tan colored fleece for this one. Making this exactly like you did the mummy. This one you're leaving just the top part of the head open because we are going to put a hat on this one, and that will cover all that up. His pants, we're just going to cut our pattern straight across right below the arms, and we're going to cut the tips of the legs off. And then lay it onto your fabric, and we're going to make it about a 3/4 of an inch on both sides. We're going to draw a line, and on the bottom you're going to go straight across, and into the inseam you're going to go straight across as well. And then on the top we're going to go up about a 1/2 of an inch. And you're going to cut 2 of these out. And I'm using pinking shears to do this. Then you just glue down both sides. And then we're going to glue the inseam also. Just right in that V, just go ahead and glue that. And then turn them right side out, and we're just going to put them right up on our little guy. And these are a little bit of a snug fit. For his belt, I'm just taking some twine, and I'm just going to tie it around his waist and tie it off in a bow. And I'm tying mine pretty tight. For his sleeves, I'm taking a piece of fabric that measures 5 1/4 by 1 1/4, and I cut this out with pinking shears. And then I'm taking a needle and thread, and I am just going to go ahead right down the center of it and gather these up. This is going to go around his arms. And then we're going to come back in here in a minute and put a vest over the top of this. So just pull it around his arm and then kind of gather it up a little bit more and then tie it off. And then we'll straighten it up here in a second. And then just kind of straighten out your pleats. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other arm. And then we're going to use some of that same jute and just tie it around there and tie it off in a bow. And you're going to do that for both sleeves. This vest, we're taking a piece of fabric that measures 7 1/2 by 2 inches, and I did cut this one out with my pinking shears as well. Go ahead and fold it over so that you can see exactly where your arms are, and we're just going to cut like a little moon shape out of the side on both sides for his arms. Just kind of make sure that they're even. And then put his arms through it with the open part in the front. It's going to be a little bit big, but I'll be gathering it up here in a second at the top. Pull it over the sleeve and get it right into the center. And then I'm folding over the front part on both sides and then gluing this together. Just make sure it does kind of meet in the middle with it overflapping on one side. Okay, to tighten up the neckline, we're just going to take a needle and thread and go around 1/4 inch stitches till you get to the opposite side, and we're going to draw this in. And don't worry about it being perfect because we're going to cover this up as well. Okay, pull the two together, put some glue down the front, and then tie that off. A bandana, we're taking a piece of fabric that measures 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, fold it over in a triangle and fold it over in a triangle again. So your raw edges will be on the top, and then start gluing all this together. And then to trim out the top, I'm just taking a ribbon and gluing it right to the top edge. And then I'm tying this around his neck. Actually, I'm not tying it around his neck. I'm just gonna take it up to the neck and then pull it around there and then cut off the excess. I'm just gonna make a little flat seam on the back. Just make sure you are covering up the top edge of his shirt. And then trim that flat. Him up a little. I'm just taking some squares that I cut with my pinking shears and just gluing one to the bandana. I'm going to glue one to the front part of his leg and one to the back part of his leg. Just little patches. This hat, I gave you the pattern in the description below, and we're cutting this out of felt. And I'm using the premium felt. It's a little bit thicker than the regular felt. Start at the bottom and just glue straight up the back. And don't worry about getting the top so perfect right here because we are cutting it off. Cut it at an angle. And then glue it right together. This will make it not look so much like a witch hat. And then I'm going to pull it over the top part of his head. And I'm not going to put it on his head like this after a while. Pull that on down just to kind of get the shape of it. And then when you get about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, start gluing this down. Just fold it right over the top part. And just get as close to the edge as you can. So the hat has a little bit of body. Just go ahead and fill it up with some polyfill and leave enough room for his head. His eyes, I took a 3/4 inch circle out of felt and cut it out. And then I'm cutting a smaller little circle out of black felt to go over the top for the pupil. And then just go ahead and start gluing those in. And disregard the hole behind his eyes. I started to do something different and I changed it up in the middle. The nose, I'm just taking some brown felt and I'm just going to cut a nose shape, a kind of a long triangle with a curved top. Then glue that right down the center. Mouth, I'm just taking some embroidery floss and I'm just going to make some small stitches. So go through about 1/2 inch, come back, and then go back through that hole and go another 1/2 inch past that. And where those little gaps are here in a second, we're going to make some little stitches over the top of those. And I know this looks like I'm making it look hard right here, but it's really not. I just cut my finger on cut my thumb, and so it's really hard to stitch right now. Then you're going to just do a line right over the top part of where each one of those little stitches are. And then when you get to the last one, you're going to run your stitch right through the back part of his head and cut that off. I'm stitching around the eyes as well. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The more imperfect it is, the better it looks. And you're going to do the same thing with the other eye. Some hair, I'm just taking some raffia. Actually, this is a hula skirt from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gluing it right into the back. And then I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to put some down the sides as well. Put glue all the way around the edge of it and glue it in. And then go ahead and squeeze it on here real well. Okay, then I got a little bit of decoration. I just have this leaf that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gluing it right to the front. Okay, I think this little guy turned out so cute. You could dress him up so many different ways. Let me know what you think. For the skeleton, you're going to make the body exactly the same way, and you're going to cut it out of black fleece. Decorating, we're just going to take the pattern. I've given it to you in both SVG and PDF. And really, it's not hard to cut this out by hand. I'll show you how easy it really is. But you can cut it out with a cutting machine if you have one. And then once you get all your pieces cut out, we're going to start assembling it. We're going to start with our head, our face, and we're just going to glue it right to the front. And you want to put enough glue to make sure that it is flush. And if you don't want to cut the circles out so that you can see through it, you can just cut some round circles out of black to put over the top of this white. And then this is going to be the body part. You're just going to hook it all together just like I'm showing you. And again, all the pattern pieces are in the description below. If you don't see them, you can download them from my website at www.pattyjgood.com. All of these go together pretty quickly. If you are a craft fair person, you could actually make a lot of these for a craft fair. I think that they'd be good craft fair sellers. And if you can sew, you can really make a lot of them fast. Took some embroidery floss and I just gave him a little smile. Now it's going to look like I'm really struggling here. Again, I cut my thumb. If you need to use pliers, they really work good to help you pull your needle through. But just kind of going around and just kind of going from one side to the other in just a U shape. And then just run your thread right through the back and cut it off. Okay, I think this guy turned out super cute. Let me know what you think in the comments today. All these were super easy to make. You can use this pattern for a lot of different applications. If you like these kind of videos, be sure to give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome. Have a great day. See you next time.